Yes, I'm a bad person. I didn't grow up liking David Bowie. I didn't grow up listening to David Bowie. Sorry, my parents were into classical music and listened to the soft rock station. I had no exposure to this. This was not my wheelhouse. But because David Bowie's music does nothing for me, it makes me a bad guy. Oh, I've got issues with this. But thankfully, to guide me out of my little hole, we've got comedian Robin Rothman, who is also well known for her Trudy Carmichael character. And joining us, the future director of episodes of the Don't Mind If I Don't TV show, Tom Dunn. They took me to music school. What is this? What is this little guy? I'm both frazzled in my personality and clothing. Ugh. Ziggy Stardust, I am not.
You may love a thing that I can't stand. Spiders, tofu, watching Homeland. Our interests are all varying. It's fun to be contrarian. But I'll try things that you all love to see if I can rise above. But maybe there's a chance that I just won't. So in that case, don't mind if I don't.
Welcome to Don't Mind If I Don't. Hey, I'm your host, Aaron Gold. This is the show where I don't like things, and fans and experts come on and show me why I'm wrong. And I get distracted by how my voice sounds in my headphones right now because I lost it this weekend. Oh, I'm losing all those ASMR people. Anyway, today we're talking about David Bowie, the star man, the Ziggy Tight Pants. Mr. British music guy.
Yes, that's how he's known.
God, and already I'm mad at you for how you're just like
My
star
love for Aaron is at a -7.
I have two wonderful, wonderful people on today. Starting with actor, singer, songwriter, and musical improviser, Robin Rothman Taylor.
Hello.
Hi, Robin. You look lovely today.
That's very nice of you to say.
Your eyebrows are on fleek. Or no, your eyelashes, your eyes.
Because I have Trudy Carmichael makeup on. I did a musical mixer earlier tonight at 6 p.m. at the Magnet Theater.
Oh, right. You host the musical mixer, right?
Right.
And I host the Thursday night mixer here at the Magnet.
How about that?
But we'll save those plugs for the end.
Okay.
Magnet Theater is going to be very happy today.
It's going to be wonderful.
Also joining us is my good buddy, writer, filmmaker, and guy I watch wrestling pay-per-views with like twice a year, Tom Dunn.
Those are two great days, by the way.
Those are two good days.
Hey, buddy.
Hi, I'm so tired. I had a very long weekend, and I'm trying to bring myself to myself. Today we're talking about David Bowie. Everything on this show gets rated on a scale of 0 to -10. 0 being my ambivalence, -10 being blood-curdling hatred. David Bowie and his tunes. Actually, just his tunes. Like, I'm sure he as a person is fine. His music clocks in at a -3.
That's not so bad, actually.
It's not the worst.
I don't understand. I don't get it.
Yeah.
That is the
conceit of
the
this show mystifies me right now.
Yeah.
How I cannot like David Bowie.
I actually expected you to hate patriotism like more than David Bowie.
I just need to understand. You need to tell me what you've listened to so I can understand how you have such ambivalence or hatred of David Bowie's music.
Well, Robin, I'm glad you brought that up because, you know, my experience with David Bowie, I haven't like ever really listened to a lot of his stuff. I knew a couple of his songs, and through listening to stuff from the research you guys gave me, I realized he did a lot more songs I've heard than I realized.
That's usually what people say.
Here's the thing, though. I asked for like, you know, a couple of things to listen to. You guys gave me like 6 albums and maybe 20 songs and 3 movies and several. I did not do all of those. I listened to...
It's just scratching the surface, too.
Yeah, seriously, skin deep. We could go more.
Oh, my God.
More like
He
David
was one of the most
Bowie.
prolific songwriters, artists, actors ever. So,
Never.
I mean, you know, it
Granted.
was hard. It was very hard to like give you some examples to start with, but it was like, well, I guess these are the fundamentals, you know.
I do want to clarify up top. This is not convincing me to think David Bowie was good or bad, because he was very good. It's just about whether or not we're recording this at an improv theater, so you're going to always hear like the shouting.
Someone's not being murdered next door is what you're saying.
No. Well, maybe in a scene. Or maybe they're killing it.
That's nice.
Thank you. Anyway, like it's not about whether or not he was talented. I give you that one immediately. Mm-hmm. It's about whether or not I can get into this dude, because I think a lot of the appeal was you had to have been there, because a lot of his influence was already felt in music that I grew up listening to. So it's like,
I know that argument because a stand-up buddy of mine says, and he's my age, 35, and he goes, I grew up with Chris Rock, so I don't need Richard Pryor as much. It doesn't connect with me, even though I completely understand that's the lineage, but I can't laugh as hard as I do with Chris Rock, who speaks to me.
Exactly.
I understand that. I just think it's nonsense.
Yeah, I'd second that. I mean, what is your musical taste? What do you usually listen to? What did you grow up listening to?
Okay, this is probably gonna blow back on me a little bit. The first band I fell in love with was Blink-182. I stand by my pop punk phase and all of its glory, both newfound and old. And I listen to I like alternative rock with lyrics that make me think. Like if the music is happy, but the lyrics would bum me out, then I'm super all about it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. How are you only a negative? How are you not a positive 12 on this guy?
Because sometimes David Bowie sounds like a sick cat. Yeah.
He's that.
He does. Sometimes he's like a little bit like a wailing cat.
You should listen to Tin Machine. You should listen. That's what you should give a listen to. You might.
Tin Machine's fantastic.
Because that's
is
like
this a song? Is this an album? Is this an actual machine?
It's an album.
It's a side
that he
group.
did. It was his side group that he had after he like hit like mega popularity in the 80s, and he was like, he had his big like Let's Dance phase, and then after that he was like getting too much commercial success, and then he kind of was just giving the masses what they wanted and getting away from his own artistic integrity. And so he was like, I got to take a break from this, because that's not what his brand was. That's not what he was all about.
Right.
So Tin Machine, but that was like a really, it was like sort of an interesting departure. And then my favorite was Earthling, his Earthling album, because that's like real gritty and like
he's got a lot of space stuff.
There was a phase, Ziggy Stardust phase, has a lot of space. There's at least 3 prominent albums as that persona.
So explain these personas to me, because is this like a Garth Brooks? What's his name?
Aaron, I'm gonna leave the building.
Hold on, Chris Gaines kind of thing. Is David Bowie just several Chris Gaineses?
Who's Chris Gaines?
He's Garth Brooks' alter ego.
Oh, Jesus.
Remember when he threw in that soul patch and was a rocker?
I do not.
I don't know. I'm sorry. That is, how can you even say Chris Gaines, Garth Brooks in the same podcast or sentence?
Because they're the
David
same
Bowie?
Person. And I've
like this
unleashed this mystery on you.
Oh my God,
And
Aaron.
you guys like rock stars that do characters. How do you not love Chris Gaines?
I don't like country music.
Chris Gaines was rock, baby.
Actually, I do like country music very much. But no, Garth Brooks, like that honky tonk stuff, I can't.
That outlaw country.
I can't do that. That's not for me at all. But I mean, David Bowie, let's steer it back to this man. He was all about recreating himself. Like, this is like, if you ever, watch any documentaries about David Bowie, you're going to hear the same things like, oh, he recreated himself again and again and again. He was an actor, essentially, but also wanted to succeed as a musician. But he always felt more comfortable writing music as different characters. So that's why he picked up all these different personas, and
it's almost method in a way.
Yeah, I mean, he had this
method songwriting.
Yeah, because it freed him up. When he was not thinking like, oh, I have to write a song as myself. It was much more freeing for him to just adopt a persona. And it was this band, The Hype, was like the very first time that he actually adopted a persona. and he was, I think, the Rainbow Man or something like that.
Yes, he was.
Right?
His name was the Rainbow
He
Man?
was the Rainbow Man.
That's
I'm
a
like,
bad name for anything.
It
Well,
was early.
it was
That's fair.
it was like the 60s. And
All
so
right, I'll
people
give
were
it to
doing
you.
all this like hippy dippy stuff. He also studied mime with, I wrote it down. It was like, Lindsay Kemp, who trained with Marcel Mousseau. So he picked up like all this mime stuff, and he was just being like very, avant-garde kind of performance. And he did some very like independent weird films. And then he decided like, oh, let's form this band where we're going to have different weird personas. And of course was just basically like getting, people were yelling obscenities at the stage the whole time. Because it was weird, and people were like, what's this? You look like a girl, and, other, like, homophobic slurs that were being hurled at them all the time. But he was like, no, I think we're on to something. So.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to at all dispute his artistry or the pioneering they did or what he did for gender and sexuality and stuff.
Way ahead of it. Way ahead.
of the
way
curve.
ahead, yeah.
Would not debate that even if I wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't, because that's all great. This is strictly just the music. So speaking of the music, you guys had me listen. I listened
give
to
us something you didn't like.
I listened to 3 albums. I listened to Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust,
Great.
Hunky Dory,
Wonderful.
That's
and
my
Black
favorite.
Star.
Okay.
Black Star's fantastic.
Yeah, it
isn't
is. It's hard to listen to.
Nope.
Oh, my God.
It's very modern. Black Star's tough.
Black Star sounded like an LCD sound system, except even longer.
But LCD sound system comes from David Bowie, so it's kind of self-referential if you really get into it.
Yeah, but even they were concise with it. Black Star, I did not like. That song, "'Tis a Pity She Was a Whore," is 2 things: terrible and 5 minutes long. Like that's too long to hear someone repeat "'Tis a pity she was a whore."
I'm going to bring us back to Hunky Dory
Yeah,
just for
let's
a
do
second.
that,
I will say
because-
Ziggy Stardust and Hunky Dory were both better albums.
Hunky Dory is my favorite album that Bowie did. It's on my top 5 all time.
Okay.
And I think you can just go with the hits. You can just go with Queen Bitch, which is just fucking rocker. You can go with Changes, which is maybe the most famous song for people who might be artists one day ever. Like, you're 11 years old and you hear it and you go, yeah, like it just connects with you.
I didn't realize he had done Changes.
Yeah.
You didn't?
I also didn't know that he did Heroes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. He's amazing.
What are we going to do with you?
Well, we're gonna try and learn me a good time.
Okay.
I did like about half of Hunky Dory.
What about Life on Mars?
Life on Mars is good.
Oh my God,
Like,
Life on
that
Mars.
is one of the most beautiful songs of all time.
I dug that song. I'm not gonna lie. I think I like his choruses more than his verses. His verses lose me a lot. Or I'm just waiting for him to get to the chorus.
What about his overall voice quality? How?
I'm shocked by that.
I think it's got range.
He's like velvet.
I
It's
know.
just
He's
nice.
like smoky
This is
velvet.
ground control.
And he has so many different like colors to his voice that are so like soothing, but then he's got that like more like angsty, like like that, like when
Can I
he kind of
describe-
screams for it.
Can I describe how his voice sounds to me? Like a vampire's rebellious teenage son.
I don't like that comparison at all.
Am I wrong? Look at the man.
You're not wrong, but he captures angst, but it doesn't have to be just teenage angst. It could be adult angst. He makes you want more with the way he sings. And Robin's absolutely right, by the way. Like, he can croon, but he can scream, and you can hear his throat like hurt when he goes for it. I'll make a general proclamation about Bowie. Like, every album, I'm going to hit a couple of themes, and that is, he is an artist's artist. He makes you want to be creative.
Yes.
Yes.
And that's a big, big deal, because every time when you sit here and you say, oh, I'm not going to question how big a deal he is in pop culture. Do you know why he's a big deal in pop culture? Because every single person on television and in movies and in talk shows and in radio all come in some capacity from Bowie. They're all, even if they don't like him, they don't like a thing he already did. Like, he's that big of a deal. In my opinion, for people like me, I'm not a huge Beatles person, but he's my Beatles. Every music I've ever liked, I'm a huge punk rock fan, and punk rock comes from the New York Dolls and Raw Power and the MC5, and David Bowie produced Raw Power, which is not even, it's Iggy Pop. Like, he's involved in everything I love music-wise. from Nirvana. You talk about Nirvana. How about The Man Who Sold the World? That
was a cover. That was
the Nirvana Unplugged album, maybe the most famous live album ever, like as far as being popular. And Kurt Cobain was torturing himself over making sure he got this one song right because it was David Bowie and it was that big of a deal. And that's about the best thing I could say about Bowie is that you can't recognize him on the street, but you know who he is when you see him on TV. Like he's fucking David Bowie. Everything he does gets bigger when he's involved in it.
You're still looking skeptical.
I mean, I don't know why this is sitting weird with me. Like it's almost like I'm at a party and everyone's talking about like, oh, you got to wait till Jake shows up. Jake is going to throw down. Jake is going to be, when Jake gets here, everyone's going to love it. And then Jake comes in, everyone's like, Jake! And I'm like, oh, that dude in the shirt?
He's shorter than I thought he would be.
Yeah. It's very much like that. It's like, I don't know. And I was watching I was listening to the Under Pressure a cappella vocals that you sent me of him and Freddie Mercury, and like both of them phenomenal. But then I kind of fell down a little bit of a Queen hole because Freddie Mercury's voice, just when you compare the two, he had more range. It seemed. Again, I'm not a huge Queen fan, so I could be talking out my butt.
Oh my god!
No, they're incredible.
They're amazing. And Freddie Mercury is like my number one favorite voice of all time.
It's the gold standard.
Great voice.
And David is like a close second for, male vocalists.
The single best duet. The combination of forces for a single song, it's never going to get bigger than Under Pressure.
And they also just, like David Bowie was like, just go in and sing your part how you think it's supposed to be sung. And so, they both sang separately and then just like came together. And also that's something that, because David Bowie had all these interesting creative processes, and like he and Brian Eno, they were doing this thing where they would decide like, there's some kind of statement we want to make with our music. We want to be writing about something. And so let's just pick this thing that we want to write about, say like world peace or something. And we're going to just go away and write on it, and then we're going to come back together again and just like meld our two things together. So sometimes they would use like a chord progression and just like go away and then come back together again.
Cool. Quick question. Who's Brian Eno?
He was one of the was he in? He was one of the musicians that
he was a solo artist. He had a band. I'm forgetting which band he was in. He produced U2 when they were at their most famous. So Joshua Tree is.
He was like Bowie's producer on a lot of stuff.
Oh wait, is he the Uno Dos Tres Catorce guy?
I don't believe so.
I don't think so.
He has an album called Here Come the Warm Jets that is. It's really amazing.
You know what? Yeah, and I haven't listened to his work, but he just worked with David Bowie a whole bunch.
He's a mega music producer.
Yeah.
And a terrific writer, and people want to collaborate with Brian Eno because he brings the artist out of you.
Gotcha.
And so David Bowie, they were a match made in heaven. And so a lot of these classic albums that we love, Brian Eno very quietly.
You love.
Yes, fair. But Brian Eno is a very big part of it.
So why isn't... Objectively, he's a good songwriter. Like Ground Control to Major Tom, though the chorus was way better than the verses.
Space Oddity.
Space Oddity, yeah. I liked the lyrics of that song a lot. The music was meh until the chorus. The chorus is rocking. But why is this just not clicking with me?
I don't know.
I want to almost... Because I so badly want to talk about the music, but we've kind of cut off everything about how groundbreaking the music is.
Right.
So it's like my ability to argue, it's almost there. I want to bring this to another place. He's such a visual songwriter. You can close your eyes, and even if you're not feeling the song as much as we are, that's the conceit of the podcast, but you can close your eyes and you can see what he's writing. That's outstanding writing. So the best example I have is Aaron, you and I are both Marvel Cinematic Universe fans.
Yeah.
My favorite Marvel movie is Guardians of the Galaxy 1. I think it's fucking fantastic. The biggest part of Guardians of the Galaxy 1 is when they arrive at Nowhere, the hollowed out head of a Celestial. You know what song they're playing when they show up there?
Yeah, give me 1 second. Oh, it's a David Bowie song.
It is a David Bowie song.
It's I don't know, but I'm willing to bet it was on the Ziggy Stardust.
It is on Ziggy Stardust. It's called Moonage Daydream.
Okay.
It's fantastic. And it's not an accident that at that moment when you want to explore something fantastic, they chose David Bowie. There was no other choice. He's that. His music is bigger than the film. And so it makes the film bigger. And that was Guardians is fucking massive. And that's really the best way I can describe David Bowie is that it is just the shit. It is the big shit. And Guardians really is probably the best example I have because he just translates so well to a visual medium and it complements almost everything it's a part of. And so many films use him because it makes them better.
I learned about David Bowie's death when I was watching The Martian with my husband and
No, I thought you were about to say Matt Damon.
with Matt Damon. But yeah.
You're married to Matt Damon?
Yes, with Matt. No, I mean, we were watching The Martian, and I was getting kind of bored of the movie, and I was like on my phone, kind of like scrolling through Facebook, and then have you seen the movie The Martian? But
Yeah.
there's like a moment when they actually play the Starman, and at that moment, I hear the song coming on in the movie, and then I scrolled to a friend of mine had like broken the news and was like, David Bowie's gone, and it was just that it was an unbelievable moment, but also very fitting because of how connected and how I always like have felt this connection to David Bowie throughout my whole like my youth and his like seeing him in Labyrinth when I was a girl. That was like my sexual awakening, which is not like an unbelievable thing. There's so many other women and men who are like, yeah, when we saw David Bowie in Labyrinth, that was like that first like, aha, what? Who?
It's mega. That film is everything also.
I never liked Labyrinth.
You're not a Jim Henson fan?
I like Jim Henson. Labyrinth just didn't do it for me. I thought the story was weak.
It's basic. It's a simple, wonderful
it's a very simple story. I don't know how complicated it had to be. It was just
It just didn't do it for me. I haven't watched it since I was 20. Like I watched it when I was a teenager, and then I watched it again when I was 20 or so. And neither times was I just like, okay.
Yeah, but I mean,
I feel like I've broken you in the brain a little bit.
Yeah, you have. I'm kind of like. It's been a long day, and
you look distraught.
And I am because I'm just like I don't know how. I'm feeling helpless because I don't know how to like.
I'm going to jump in just because I don't want to stay on Labyrinth too long because it's about Bowie himself. But Labyrinth, Jim Henson had two big films in the 80s, like as the Muppet Show was still around, and at least the Muppet films were around.
Other one's Dark Crystal. Haven't seen it.
Right, that's right. But you know why you haven't seen it? Because Dark Crystal hasn't aged as well. One of the big reasons that Labyrinth has stuck around in the zeitgeist is because of David Bowie, because there's these Muppets and there's these puppets, and then there's two actors who are actually almost larger than these very, very artistically creative puppets. And this world, it is all about the world. And David Bowie with Magic Dance, specifically Magic Dance, and then the LSD globe scene, really holds this film. It kind of takes it to the stratosphere, and it's for those couple of scenes that the rest of the movie is taken more seriously, that this kid's movie hung around. He elevates.
He's Jareth. I mean, he's so charismatic and
I'll say he was great casting
alluring.
for it.
I mean, like, just what a sexy, amazing.
He is sexy. There's no way around it.
Right? How do you not think he's sexy in Labyrinth?
His hair is weird.
His hair is
incredible, and it's like this.
It's the
big,
80s.
Like,
I don't fault him
80s
for
hair.
it, but
yeah, and he's got these crazy eyebrows drawn on, and I mean, he's just like he's got the tight gray pants, and
the stuffed crotch.
Codpiece, definitely
it's
a
codpiece.
Okay. Or he's just got a very oval penis.
Which maybe
why not?
Yeah.
He's David Bowie.
Can I say one other thing about Labyrinth? Correct me if I'm wrong. Doesn't it end with her talking to the mirror with them, saying like, "No, I want you guys to come here," and then they're just in her room, and then the movie ends?
It's joyous.
Yeah, it's just a nice sentiment.
I hated that movie ended there I wanted to see the next scene where the parents are like, "Hey, sweetie, have a good." What the fuck is this? What is this? I wanted that scene.
I think you wanted the comic version of Labyrinth.
I wanted any degree of realism in Labyrinth.
But it's a children's movie, and it's with the Muppets.
And
You're a
it's
children's
a joke.
and it's a fantasy.
It's a fantasy movie.
You want the realism in a fantasy
Suddenly, you're like, you want realism in a Muppet movie?
I
It doesn't
want
make any sense.
things to be. I want some elements of reality in my fantasy, so it makes it more pop that much more. For my good example for this is Guardians of the Galaxy. Everything isn't super shiny and cool and spacey. It's a little grungy. It's a little dirty. He's still got a tape deck. Like
That's an adult film. I mean, that's like not an adult film. Like, it's not.
What did you watch?
Right, not a porn.
It
No,
is
but
an
it's
adult
it's a film for adults. This was a film for children. So it's. I mean, it's
Then
you're
children
not
are
gonna get like
stupid.
Well, you have no joy in your life.
I don't understand this. I'm going to take it away from Labyrinth because I will make this an episode about Labyrinth.
Yeah, I will too. I mean, that's where it all began for me was Labyrinth. So that's why that's my tie-in to Labyrinth. It's like that was my.
You mentioned you listened to Ziggy Stardust.
Yeah.
What did you give me a song you liked off of Ziggy? You don't have to say you liked the album. Like, what's one song you've been like, that was fantastic?
I liked a few of those songs. I will say one of them that really stuck out with me was Suffragette City, but that was because I had developed a bond for that back in the day when I was playing Rock Band a lot. That was the first time I heard that song, and I had to learn it to get good at Rock Band. I like the horn interjections in a lot of the songs. Like the first couple were really good and recognizable, but like halfway, I just kind of got bored. The Ziggy Stardust song, that's Space Oddity. No, that's not Space Oddity.
Mm-mm.
That's the Ziggy Stardust, the song itself. I didn't give a shit about. Rock and Roll Suicide was a good song, but I just can't imagine wanting to listen to it. Can't imagine like being in the mood for Rock and Roll Suicide. You know what I mean?
I don't know.
I don't know what you mean either. Because it's got like this really like good drive to it. And did you watch Ziggy Stardust, like the film? Did we ask you to
No,
watch that?
I watched the music video for Space Oddity, which bored me a lot. And
it's not a great film.
It's not a great music video.
No, because it was like one of the first music videos.
Yeah.
I mean, that's another revolutionary thing that David Bowie did was he experimented with music video. So he was like laying, the groundwork for millions of artists everywhere.
Completely unafraid to try something new. It's really the hallmark of his career, besides being a terrific writer and singer.
Have you ever known someone with that much confidence? I mean, that's what David Bowie has above anybody else is just the fearlessness and the confidence to just have these ideas and these, germs of ideas and like cutting up words to make songs and just being like, I'm going to lay this down and see what happens. And if it's popular, great. And if it's not, then this is fucking art. Like, it doesn't have to be popular. It doesn't need to be mainstream. It's like, I do what I need to do. He did it out of a need to create art. So that to me is like the most admirable thing of anybody out there who's creating art or music.
Again, I'm not going to knock him as an artist.
Yeah.
Like as an artist, yes, pioneer, very, very good. I know it sounds blasé for me to, or it's probably annoying for me to just kind of glaze over that, but I am glazing over it because it's a given. I'm not talking about his merit. I'm talking about get me to like it.
I'll share. Yes, I'll share something about myself. It took me a very long time to be not precious about the work I make. Whether writing or filming, you want to love it, but you don't want to love it so much that you can't listen to other people's opinions about it. Yeah. You can't adjust it. David Bowie is that because you don't get to be that prolific if you can't go, okay, that's hunky dory. What's next? You look at it, and even though he might only change every 3 albums, it's always a gradual shift. You can feel the tone shifts from him. So Hunky Dory doesn't sound like Low doesn't sound like Station to Station doesn't sound like Let's Dance.
And none of them sound like Chris Gaines.
That's yes.
Thank God.
No, I'm kidding. But it's like he always is onto what is next. And it's not the shiny thing, it's what he wants to do. That is admirable, and it's really hard to do. And I know you're not, fighting against how good of an artist he is, but that's where these great songs come from. I don't love the album Young Americans, but I love the song Young Americans, and it's unlike anything else out there. He fucking sampled the Beatles, but he made sure it was a soul sample instead of just playing the song, which goes against everything you do.
What's a soul sample?
He had like a chorus of people sing, I heard the news today, oh boy, instead of playing the Beatles, like everyone would do today, especially, we are so sample heavy in music today that they would just play a clip from the song or mash it up. And it was it's still a hit at weddings when your group of friends are standing around and they'll scream that part because it's special, because he's special. And that's David Bowie. It's his greatest hits is 3 discs long. And that's not even counting how great the other songs are on album. Like my favorite song off of Ziggy is a song called Soul Love.
Yeah,
and
it's a great song.
So good, and it's not ever played anywhere else.
I mean, so you just want to like the music more.
Yeah,
So
I want to be like, oh, David Bowie, all right, and not go like, oh. Like I learned he did Heroes because I watched the music video for Heroes, and granted, while simplistic, that was pretty good. It's
great.
But yeah, like I want to feel something more than, oh, Bowie did this.
I mean, I don't know how to.
wanna
I don't know
feel.
how to. Right. I don't know how to do that for you. I guess, other than just saying you have to keep listening to it because I
Until
think you're
Stockholm
gonna.
syndrome sets in.
No, smarty pants. Until you hear the music, because I don't think you're hearing it with open ears. I think you're still like you've already kind of decided that you know what he has to offer, and you're like meh. But I feel like let it in a little bit more.
I will say when I listened to Ziggy without headphones, I was like, yeah, this is pretty good. And then I listened to the other album I mentioned that wasn't Black Star,
Hunky Dory.
I listened to most of that with headphones on, and the headphones made a huge difference. And like I understand what you mean by he's a Tom, you keep nodding and shaking your head and then laughing silently, and you get that this is an audio medium, right?
Yeah, nobody sees what I'm doing.
Yeah.
It's really great. Hey, everybody, I've been nodding and laughing and shaking my head a lot at Aaron.
Yeah, a bunch.
I know, but I can't say that each time you're talking. It's rude.
Yeah, like I could hear a lot more of the intricacies of the music and appreciate it more. So maybe I'll re-listen to Ziggy with headphones on and
and walk around New York when you do it.
Headphones in is big in New York with Bowie.
Yeah.
I mean, oh man,
Such a New York artist.
Right. I mean, he loved New York, and he considered himself a New Yorker through and through. So it was like walking around New York and listening, to David Bowie in your headphones is a great experience. And yeah, it'll just get into your head a little bit more, I think. I mean, for me, I have been listening to David Bowie since I was, I think like, 10 or 11 or something. And so that might be another reason why it just became like, I feel like his artistry, I don't want to sound like too heady, but like he just kind of like got inside of my head. But I think it was just that initial impact of like seeing this creature in Labyrinth when I was a kid, during a very formative time. And I was just so like, it was just love at first sight, it was like, holy crap, who is that? What is that? It was just like, I still remember that feeling. And it's just like that experience of being like, I need to know everything about this man. What? He's a musician? And then I just like, friends of mine gave me this, a tape, because I was a child of the 80s. So a tape cassette of David Bowie's very first album. And so, oh man, I mean, we didn't have you listen to that. That is some of the cheesiest, like folksiest music.
Now Tom is shaking his
We
head.
spared you.
Non-rock
Shakes his
and
head
roll
no.
music you can ever hear. And there's this song, which is one of my favorite songs, called The Laughing Gnome, which is so weird, but it's also incredibly charming. But it's like Alvin and the Chipmunks also, but almost like, but with like a British man doing it, because it's like there's a gnome voice. One of the producers like spoke, to David Bowie, and there was like a dialogue between them. So it's this really high pitched like gnome voice,
Like,
and
hello.
it's like and he's like, I'm a laughing gnome. Like it's like this really like crazy It's kind of trippy, but it's a cute song, and there are a lot of puns in it. So I really like puns. Maybe that's why. It all started with the Laughing Gnome. But it's like a really bouncy, like almost polka-y kind of vibe to it. And it's so weird, but I listened to that tape 5 million times in my bedroom when I was a kid. So that was my introduction to David Bowie.
Do you think because I'm not attracted to him?
I mean, yeah, I think that's part of what draws people is he's just such an attractive person.
He's magnetic.
When he's in the interviews, I also watched the Conan tribute video.
Did you?
Yeah,
Aw.
which was very sweet. But in all those interviews, it looked like David did not want to be there, but was still going along with stuff. So props. Showed up to do his job.
I mean, look, he's supposed to be the character he's playing each time he's there is the standoffish mega musician.
Yeah.
And then each time Conan takes out a guitar and like
Right, that's like
stares
the
him
bit.
in the eye.
Yeah, that
he's
was
like,
like
oh, you don't mind, do you? And David Bowie plays it. He hams it up.
Right.
Okay.
He's
That
a good
was
sport.
on purpose.
Yeah.
that
All
was
right,
fully
all
on
right.
It's a
purpose.
bit.
Yeah.
I'll accept that.
Yeah. Because he was also like, there's so many interviews on YouTube that you can watch where it's just clips of him like just being so funny. He was so funny and charming. And when he, like early on in his earlier days, when he was in his 20s, he was kind of like a shit sometimes in interviews. Especially when people were asking him questions that he was like, why are you asking me this? But, he was like, he definitely had that period of taking himself too seriously. But then I think like as he got older, he softened and he became, just funnier and more lighthearted and like wanted to play along with people and was kind.
I'll actually jump in. One of my favorite things about David Bowie getting older was when he was it was after 9/11 and he was okay playing the song Heroes again. He had really rebelled against it for a little while because, so many politicians wanted it.
Yeah.
They wanted it so on the nose. They weren't actually listening to the song. They weren't hearing the lyrics. It's not a happy song and it's a little bit, trippy. And they're just like, no, we could be heroes. It's the only line they heard. And he rebelled against it for a long time. But he recognized the situation. He recognized how important this was to people at this time. And he just let it happen. And he let it become part of, his, his playlist, I guess, like his set list.
Yeah.
Again, yes, his lexicon. I mean, it was already his song, but he let it back in to be part of his concert life. And it meant a lot to a lot of people. His ability to read the world and like behave in such a way
and be there for people when they needed him most.
Huge.
Yeah.
The other thing we brought up Under Pressure, and again, the best combination of music acts ever. But you know what else David Bowie did? He did like this Little Drummer Boy with Bing Crosby.
I was just thinking about that.
That was so
That song
amazing.
fucking sucks, and David Bowie makes it great.
Right.
That Little Drummer Boy song on its own, like when you heard it when you were a kid, like on an Alvin and the Chipmunks plastic
Yeah.
record, that's not fun. That's unendurable today. And you can listen to him and Bing Crosby and David Bowie, and it is gold. And Bing Crosby's great too, so no slouch.
I can respect like the voices of both of them and enjoy that, but it's still a Christmas song.
It's still a Christmas song. But it's like, he's able to take something average and make it great.
elevate it so much. Oh, and if I could just add,
Sure.
because you brought up like the 9/11, there was a
David Bowie
concert-
caused it.
Aaron, I will slap you across the face.
I will deserve it.
Okay, let me try and get back into this moment.
Sorry.
There was a concert for the first responders and firefighters and police that David Bowie was a part of, and my father is a 9/11 survivor, and so after 9/11, it was a devastating time for our whole entire country, but it was like particularly exactly hit right at home for me, and I was not sure what I was doing, and I had always wanted to move to New York, and then I saw him at the concert, and he played a Paul Simon song. He played why can't I think of the song 40 Seconds? No,
Bulls on Parade.
the what is it? It's just America. It's just America.
America.
Yeah, America. That's what it was. Okay. So David Bowie was playing America at this concert, and he sat in the middle of this enormous stage with just this like little keyboard, this little tiny keyboard. He was like cross-legged on the floor of the stage, and he was just playing like very simple. I think it was, this like a little electronic thing. And the moment that he sang, the New Jersey Turnpike line, the whole entire crowd erupted. And it was just like, it was such a beautiful, perfect moment. And it was like, to me, it was like, you got to go to New York. Like it was that moment for me that was like, everything's going to be okay. And just the rousing like cheers and applause from the audience. So that was another like moment that David Bowie sort of like steered me in a direction. And I saw him again, like being there for people when they were just
he rose
at
to
their
the
worst.
occasion.
Yeah.
It sounds like the more I learn about him, the man and the artist, the more I'm like, oh, this guy's, yeah, he was awesome. It's not some big revelation. Everybody says it, but I am starting to experience that. Oh, okay, a bit. So maybe I just need to learn a bit more about him, and so I can appreciate the music more. I would like to be walked through all the personalities.
Well, give me one, because I want to go before we go into that.
Sure.
Because that's a very specific part of the conversation.
Sure, Tom. How do you want to run my show?
Yeah, fair point. Aaron, let me tell you about your grading system. For me, David Bowie is, what mood are you in? Because he hits all of them.
Yeah.
I'm a huge Rolling Stones guy. I want this to be sweaty, gross rock and roll all the time. So I want Rebel Rebel. I want Where Have All the Good Times Gone. I want Queen Bitch. I want something that is just like, oh my God, it is. The air conditioning doesn't work in this room and I'm only staying because the song is great. That's what I want out of my David Bowie. But then, sometimes you want something you can sing along to with a group. Young Americans comes in. Let's Dance comes in.
Heroes
comes in.
Yeah.
Suffragette City.
Mm-hmm.
I want to sit in my car and chair dance while I'm stuck in traffic. So oh my God, I can't believe I'm forgetting. Not of Let's Dance. It's Modern Love. Modern Love.
Little China Girl.
Oh my God. Like that, like Modern Love is like the most adorably fucking awesome song ever.
It's a good feeling. It's a really like good, get yourself in a good mood, like revved up kind of song too. It's just delightful to listen
I'm always
to,
looking for songs to add on to. I've got a Spotify playlist called Entrance Themes.
Okay.
And they're just like nice to either pump me up, or if I'm having a particularly rough day, I play one of those and I imagine myself coming out to like a ring, or I just like walk in step with it, and it just kind of gets me
it's
pumped
great
up.
for that. Oh yeah. It's
Maybe I'll
perfect
add
for
that.
I want to listen to some acoustic rock, but I still want David Bowie. So I'll put on So George from the Life Aquatic soundtrack, who literally just covers David Bowie songs with a guitar and nothing else. And it's fucking awesome. Like David Bowie encompasses whatever mood you're in. There's a Bowie song for it. Mm-hmm. So it's not just, he does that one thing really great.
There's a Bowie for all
There's
seasons.
A Bowie for any of your 10 moods in a day.
Okay, well, let's try this out. Could you guys, and I know I'm throwing this at you, ask me some questions about my personality, and we'll see which Bowie would be the best fit for me.
We will diagnose you a Bowie.
Yeah.
That would be great.
That would be lovely. Okay.
Right now, Aaron, your throat hurts.
Yes.
And you're a little tired.
Very.
I'm
a lot tired.
Doctor, I don't know how you would feel, Robin, but I would personally give you something you could kind of hum to. For me, it would be Starman. You don't have to go so big with it, but it's kind of that nice moment. It brings you in a little bit as you Yeti yawn in our radio studio.
Yeah. That was a thing I tried to do silently and succeeded in, but thank you for pointing out the visual.
I'm going to keep nodding on the radio.
Perfect. Tom, get podcasts like they're your blood, my friend.
I'll be back.
But also, is there like a desired mood that you have, or do you want to kind of relish in your current mood? Because
I would like something that kind of gets me a little bit more energized. I really like it when horn sections come in or string sections come in my rock songs.
Well, I mean, you just need Let's Dance.
Let's Dance.
Just put that on, and that'll pep you up.
What Bowie was that?
That was also the 80s Bowie. That's, from his album Let's Dance.
Ziggy.
No.
Is he Thin White Duke at that point?
That was post Thin White Duke. That was like his Sunny California, David Bowie,
Big
more
suit.
commercial persona.
So
But
you're saying
his
I
fun-
sold out by liking
Yeah, you're already someone who sells out.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
I believe it. I am the
You're
uncultured
the main.
masses.
Well, you're the mainstream person who you've kind of demonstrated that tonight. Just
Somewhat.
with your Garth
Actually,
Brooks
no.
references.
Like, oh, yeah, he's super
And
mainstream
Blink
these
182.
days.
I mean, you
That
are
one I can't find.
Right. So, that's what you're going to fall into that popular music category.
I can't argue that. Well, yes, I can. My favorite band is Los Campesinos.
If you were looking for something a little pep me up, I'd go to Low, the album Low, and I'd give you Sound and Vision. I would
Sound and Vision is a beautiful song.
Not a lot of singing with your voice hurting.
You know what else I love is
Well, I still I like to hear good lyrics. I like lyrics that make me think and affect me.
one of
Dumb lyrics don't do it for me.
well, I don't know if you heard it. Always Crashing in the Same Car, I think, is like one of the sexiest songs ever.
How's it go?
It's just like always crashing in the same car. I'm not doing it.
That's pretty
justice.
straightforward. Yeah,
But
okay.
it's-
I could have done that one.
But it's just because it's like there's too much to it that I can't reproduce it possibly right now in this room
That's fair. It's late.
without any without any throat coat.
What Bowie was that? What period Bowie?
That was off
I wanna
of Low too, isn't
Yeah,
it? Yeah, that's off of Low.
We've actually
Yeah.
hit Low pretty hard right now.
We have.
Okay,
yeah.
so I should start with that era Bowie and see how it feels.
Yeah,
Try it out.
That was a controversial era Bowie, the Thin White Duke.
Then White
Bowie.
Duke Bowie.
Conan
Yeah.
O'Brien mentioned in that video
Yeah.
you gave him, Robin, that it was his favorite Bowie. So it's, again, everyone has a favorite Bowie. I'm a Ziggy guy. I will say it clearly, but I really like the Thin White Duke too.
What about you, Robin? What aside from Jareth, what Bowie are you?
I do love like the Ziggy, Aladdin Sane Bowie. Just the theatricality of those Bowies. But then I love like the
Theatricality
later-
of those Bowies is my favorite sentence I've heard today.
great. Well, because I love theatrics.
So
And
do I.
he was all about that.
He
wanted,
theatrics
he
singer.
wanted to write musicals for Broadway and the West End. Like he was all about theater, and spectacle. But I also love the Bowie that was like, the late 90s Bowie, where he was like, had that weird goatee and like Earthling and the spiky hair.
Good work with Trent Reznor.
Yeah. And he worked with Trent
Absolutely.
Reznor. That's right. Yeah.
That sounds just weird enough for me to be intrigued by.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a great time period too. And then Heathen, when he just got like really, once again, like distinguished looking again,
So
wearing suits and being really hot.
I found myself on a BuzzFeed quiz called "Which David Bowie Are You?"
Oh, okay.
Oh, I like that.
So maybe this
Great.
could point me to a good Bowie direction. How many questions is this? Ooh, enough that I'm probably going to edit this section down.
Great. Cool.
Let's all find out what Bowies we are.
Fun.
Oh, fan. This is fun.
This is a good time.
Yeah.
You can tell by how enthusiastic I sound. My body is so tired. So, what David Bowie are we all? Where were you most likely to be found in high school? Guys, where were you in high school found?
I would say at play rehearsal, that works.
Plugging away at home after class would be me.
There's probably something along the lines of plugging away at home after class.
Yeah.
I had my little punk friends. All right. Question 2. You're at a party. What are you doing? I'm going to say I was either nerding out with a cutie in a corner or introducing myself to strangers.
I was supplying the visuals.
I was probably helping the host by cleaning up along the way.
What do I pick if I start by introducing myself to strangers, but it's just so I can find a cutie to nerd out with in the corner?
I would go strangers.
Yeah,
All
yeah,
right.
stranger.
All right. Stranger danger it is.
There might not be a cutie at the party, but you still would have introduced yourself to strangers.
That's true. That's a good point. Question 3. What wouldn't you dare leave the house without?
A battery booster for my cell phone or my top of the line headphones. Although I don't have top of the line headphones.
Headphones.
I'm gonna
I don't know
go
if they'd be-
headphones
I'm gonna go
also.
with headphones.
Like they're
Yeah.
pretty good
It's
headphones.
necessary.
Yeah.
I want to talk to people. It's New York.
My favorite thing about living in New York was the abundance of headphones.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God.
And just listening to stuff on the commute is the best.
It's the best.
Yeah. Question 4. Right now, I wish I was making out with... Who picks a Muppet? Who honestly... And what is Iman?
It's his wife.
Iman is his wife, the model, the beautiful model.
Aaron, funny thing. He also set the trend of rock and roll people marrying supermodels. He is known as the man who married a supermodel. And then that became the thing to do because David Bowie did it.
That I did not know.
Did they stay together?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay,
they had a
that's lovely.
daughter, and they were they together till he died.
I'm going to go with my high school sweetheart. That's wistful.
That's lovely. Yourself.
None of these options.
None of these options. I mean, I would I don't know, Freddie Mercury, because why not? There we go. Let's do that.
Of all of these, I guess it would be Iman forever.
Okay.
Yeah. I make out with Iman forever of those options.
Yeah.
I wouldn't hate being stranded on a layover in, I'd say New York, but I live here.
Right.
So,
You're just stuck in an airport in New York. You'd rather be home.
yeah.
I would say I'll go with Paris.
I'm gonna make the best of anywhere. It's an adventure, right? Assuming I'm not
That's
in New
fun.
York.
That's nice. Yeah.
See, if it's the what's catching me on this one is layover. Because of all these, I'd love to check out London.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's just a layover, I'd go Memphis.
Nice.
Oh, okay.
Memphis, I'll have great food. There's a lot of stuff to do in that airport, I bet. I bet Memphis Airport's solid.
Okay.
So I'm going to answer this question
All right.
honestly. I'm going to
Sure.
say Memphis.
Great.
When you're not around, people would say you are.
A ball of energy.
Are you saying that you are or I am?
That people would say that about me.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I would hope people would say a giving and loyal friend because I'm a Leo, so I'm very loyal. I stand by that.
I'd see that.
Okay,
I think
great.
that people would describe me as a ball of energy.
Yeah, I would
There's
describe you as
no
that.
hesitation at all in there.
Yeah.
Yes.
The one major thing topping my wish list is
I love that cocaine is an option.
I think that it's the second option. It's at least not the first one where you're like, cocaine.
yeah, but a trip to space camp is number one.
Because it's dope.
It's pretty dope.
I like this admission to a Broadway master class.
Who picks blackout curtains is really what I want to know.
Yeah, someone who just wants to sleep a lot.
I can't choose one thing. The world is my oyster is my choice.
I'm going to say a vintage wardrobe and rare rock and roll memorabilia because I've always wanted to dress like an American Russell Brand, but like not obnoxious about it. So
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to
Thin
go
line.
with that too.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, that's like, of course, the fantasy is like being an amazing rock and roller. Yeah.
2 questions left. What's keeping you up at night?
Fear that you may be spreading yourself too thin.
That one might be me.
Oh my.
Yeah.
That hurts. Thank you, Bowie
Ooh,
quiz.
I'm going to take the one that's slightly different from that right below it. Whether or not you're pushing it too far. Because sometimes I feel like I am. Sometimes I feel like I'm not.
Yeah. I think sometimes all the possibilities in front of you.
Yeah.
Sometimes I have trouble deciding which thing to follow first.
We're getting existential with this
We
Bowie
are.
talk.
Well, it's Bowie.
it's Bowie. This is what
This
happens.
is what goes on.
Bowie.
It's deep.
All right, one last one. What Beatles song are you throwing on the Die Bar jukebox?
Happiness is a Warm Gun or Strawberry Fields Forever.
Twist and shout.
None of these.
I don't.
Not even with a little help from my friends.
I mean, all right,
Just
fine,
to be
that
a
one.
nice person.
I guess that one then.
Okay.
Okay, so I got secretly making a stellar album, Bowie. You're not preoccupied with the rat race, confident and accomplished. You're content conducting your business behind closed doors, only to the shock, awe, and satisfaction of everyone around you when you choose to share. It says The Next Day. Is that a Bowie album?
That is a Bowie album.
Yes.
And that, I was just listening to that earlier today. That, oh man, you should watch some of the videos from that album. The Stars Are Out Tonight. Tilda Swinton and David Bowie collaborated on that. It's so weird. But it's also, and then there's this other one, The Next Day is Gary Oldman. And that is, oh man.
You're mentioning a lot of great people.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like he was friends with so many incredible people and performers and musicians. So yeah, watch those videos. They are trippy as hell.
Okay. Before we
Yeah.
wrap this up, what Bowies did you guys get?
I got experimental early 90s Bowie. You follow your curiosity. You're fulfilled by experimentation and personal trailblazing instead of widespread renown for once. You love mechanics, electronics, and are driven by dabbling in both. Happy to take a back seat for the benefit of the big project.
What album Bowie are you?
I didn't give me one, actually.
But it said late 90s?
Yeah, early 90s.
Oh, early 90s? Okay, so that was like Tin Machine.
Tin Machine, which we both love.
Which was like,
Okay.
yeah, 89, 90, yeah. And I got the helping everyone else out Bowie. Instead of concentrating your genius, you'd rather leverage it among friends. Collaboration, benefits, and celebration is the name of your game. Guest appearances are a pleasure, and you're always in demand. Wasn't that nice?
Oh, all right. Well, so if you agree with any one of our, if you're listening at home and you agree with any one of our consonant options, that's the Bowie for you.
That was probably Live Aid Bowie.
Live Aid Bowie?
Yeah, because he did Live Aid.
All right. So I now know where I can move on in my Bowie-ness. Mm-hmm. I'm going to listen to The Next Day with headphones on while walking around New York. I'm going to do this very soon. And
Listen to
Let it
Low
affect-
also with
And Low?
headphones because
Those
that's
two albums?
so because it's
Okay.
just it's so like environmental that it's a great thing to listen to with headphones on.
all right.
Yeah.
Well, then,
And I'm going to make you a little bit of a greatest hits to give you on Spotify. I'll make you a playlist and I will share it with you. Nothing crazy. I'm going to give you like 6 hits. You'll probably know 1 or 2 of them because, as you've said, some of these songs you don't know are Bowie songs.
why don't you title it DMIID David Bowie and make it public on Spotify
Done.
so everybody else can listen to my homework?
I'll do it. I'll do it too.
Hooray.
Yay.
But like I think listening to Low is more important than this. I think Low is perfect.
More important than The Next Day?
Yeah. The Next Day is
BuzzFeed
extra.
told me I'm a next day kind of Bowie.
Well, then you have to listen to it because BuzzFeed told you to.
And BuzzFeed knows all.
But Low is more like necessary listening, and Next Day is extra credit, I would say.
All right.
Yeah,
Okay, so I have my path ahead of me.
you do.
So if we start with me at a -3, I've learned a lot about this man. Even though I didn't have any issues with him as an artist, he sounds like a really fucking cool artist. The music still has not grabbed me yet, but I know where I can go from here. So I'd say I'm at a solid 0. I am ambivalent to David Bowie.
This is a successful podcast.
I feel a little
Yeah.
bit better. I feel like I did something with my day.
You did. You took all the negativity out. I am straight down the middle on David Bowie.
Right.
I respect him, but in terms of it for me, I don't know. I don't know.
And I think the more you listen to the music, the more you'll want to learn more about David Bowie. And then, so it's like the two things go hand in hand because he's a multi-dimensional person with so many different personas.
I believe it.
So he's just the gift that keeps on giving.
You know, right now at the Brooklyn Museum, David
Yes.
Bowie is there right now. And you can't get a ticket. You have to either go.
Good, because I was
You have
about to
to go
say that
online.
sounds exhausting already.
It is a hot ticket. It's been out for 4 months. You
Yeah.
still can't go in. Yeah. I live next door to the fucking place and I can't get in. It's
Really?
awful.
You tried to you got your ticket? You didn't get a ticket online?
It's a combination of been working.
I see.
I can't get
Okay.
I can't get in during after work hours because every asshole goes and
Right.
I'm
It's only
every
open
asshole.
until 6. Yeah. But go.
I won't. Anyway, Tom, you said you had nothing to plug.
I have nothing to plug, Aaron.
All right, great plugs. Robin, what do you have to plug?
Well, I'm on Instagram as I forget my own Instagram handle, but I know my personas. My other alter ego's Instagram handle is True Songstress. That's TrueSongstress. I don't know why I spelled that whole thing out.
I mean, it's good. People
True Songstress,
know it
because
now.
Trudy Carmichael is my alter ego.
Oh, right. I forgot about that.
Yes. So also, I mean, I do that because of my love for David Bowie. I'm not gonna lie.
And Garth Brooks.
And
No, I'm not going on record as loving Garth Brooks.
You don't have to. We already know that you do. And any shows coming up or anything?
I'll be doing DCM, the 20th annual DCM on June 30th
As the Del Close Marathon.
Del Close Marathon.
72 straight hours of improv here in New York City across multiple theaters. Tom's eyes are widening.
Yeah.
That sounds fantastic.
A lot of it is.
Saturday, 11:30 at the Magnet Theater.
Ooh, you got a great slot.
It's a good spot. Yeah, it's a good slot. But June 30th, 11:30 p.m.
Magnet Theater.
Magnet Theater, yep.
Awesome.
I don't know your show, but every time I go to Aaron's show, it always kind of rejuvenates me to want to be creative again, because you can see people's thought processes, like the joke they're ready to tell, and like they get like that nervous little back and forth tick, like, oh, once he stops speaking, I'm gonna get in there, I'm gonna fucking speak. This show's gonna be so good, and sometimes it works, and it's really like it's exciting.
Speaking of my show, You Are Not Alone, an uplifting show about depression. The next one is at the Magnet Theater on July 16th at 7:30. Also, I host the Magnet Improv Mixer on Thursdays at 6:30. And Robin, you host the musical Improv Mixer.
That's right.
On Tuesdays.
At 6 p.m.
At 6 p.m.
It's every other
Oh, mine's at
Tuesday.
6 p.m. too. Whoop.
Oops.
Oh.
Oh boy, check magnettheater.com to get it right.
Yeah, and that's enough plugging of Magnet Theater. But also, you can. I was just on another podcast called Talk and Chop. Chop was spelled with 2 P's because it's a show from comedians that we both love. Robin, Jonathan DeMuth, started a new podcast where he and Jeff Summergy watch all of American Choppers.
Oh my.
And I was their first guest on their second episode. It was a really good time. I highly recommend checking out Talk and Chop. Those guys know how to throw down. Also, if you leave a review on iTunes or shout me out on Instagram or Twitter or Facebook or any of those things and plug this show, I'm going to say something I like about you. Michael Silverblatt, former guest of this show. I like that you got a voice as smooth as velvet and hair as smooth as velvet. Also, Gemma Aston. I like that you sound like a female Ashton Kutcher. I don't know how to do a Gemma Aston.
I
That
like
one's
the
a
name
tough one.
Gemma, though.
Like you're just
that's
good
a
as
pretty
is,
name.
Gemma.
Yeah.
Gemma, you're great. Gemma, you don't change a thing.
Right,
You are
great
nailing
name.
it as is. Even if your name was Aston Gemma, it's still a badass name. You can rearrange it. Just Gemma, you know what? You're just killing it at life. You're doing great as is. You can reach out to me at Don't Mind Podcast or me personally instead of this podcast. Fuck, I'm tired. I'm gonna go home and go right to bed.
Yay.
Anyway, at Hey It's Aaron Gold is me, or email me at don'tmindpodcast@gmail.com. Rate, review, and subscribe.
Oh my. Oh, sir. Hang
Come
it
on,
up.
you're almost done.
I'm almost done. Tom, Robin, thank you guys so much for joining me and Bowieing me. You like a plane, Boeing 747.
She does like puns, but it's tough.
Yeah, that's
You guys end the
It's a
show. I'm going to
Bowie-
fall asleep right here.
Bowie knife is also Jim Bowie, the frontiersman, is where David Bowie got his name.
What's his real name?
Davy Jones.
Davy Jones is his real name? I thought that
Yes,
was a stage
David
name.
Jones. No.
David Jones.
David
Oh.
Jones, like the monkey. That's why he had to
Right,
change his
and then he
name.
had to change it, and then he chose what
Tom
was it?
Jones.
Tom Jones. And then Tom Jones came out.
Yep. Yep.
Well, guys,
There you go.
thank you for joining me. Keep on minding, and everybody get some sleep.
Go Bowie.
Bye.
Bye.